Namaste, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, friends, freaks, and football fanatics. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to your favorite show with your favorite bro. Like it says up there, Quick Takes, back with season 3, back with episode 7A, just like NFL is back with season 100 something, but week 7. Thursday Night Football on Prime. It's on. You already know what it is. It is the dubbed the Icy Hot Bowl. It is the Steelers at the Bengals. And in this one, gotta rock out with the Steelers. Why do I say that? Let's take a little dive into it. Steelers last week, coming off the bye, they were already 14-4. They came out, won it 15-4. I mean, you know, Steelers. However, talking about the Steelers, let's look at Mike Tomlin's record. He is 0-6 in the division on the road on Thursday Night Football. But this might be the year. Where is it? Let's look into it a little deeper. Aaron Rodgers is 3-0 against Joe Flacco. Flacco taken on as the starter for the Bengals, which is another twisted event. You know, he started out with the other Ohio team, the other AFC North team in Ohio. Now he's the starter on the other team. Mike Tomlin, like, a lot of media has talked about, has kind of showed and went out of character, showing his emotions about Andrew Berry and his move to kind of trade him away in the division. He looks frustrated, but is that going to last? We got to see. And this one for the Bengals, unfortunately, like I said, we're taking all the Steelers, not taking on y'all. So that does kind of take you to since a 2-0 start to a 0-5 kind of skid. But there is the light at the end of the tunnel. There is a bye week in 2 weeks, but next week you do take on the 0-6 Jets. So even if you do end up losing this week, you're at 2-5. Next week you get up to 3-5 and you go into the bye. Are there moves going to be happening? Is Trey Hendrickson going to be gone? If he is gone, can you go land a Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb, who kind of still, get you through the season? Whether Joe Burrow comes back or not this season is kind of going to go to the wayside. Is that going to transpire other moves like head coach and other stuff across the building as well? We got to see. I could still see T. Higgins kind of getting moved in the summer or in the off season. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to be in line in this one for the Bengals, possibly with Andrew Whitworth. Took me 3 times. Leading the jungle today, I do believe, and I do believe Ocho's going to be in the building as well. So they got some extra motivations with, some of the legends in the past for that building. Previously, I do believe it was 2022 Bengals as Steelers. They lost 30-7. So on the road, can Steelers kind of still go back to that performance? All time, Joe Flacco on Thursday Night Football, he has 3,000 yards. Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is over 4,000. The leading candidate, obviously, being the GOAT Tom Brady. Touchdowns, he has 20. Interceptions, he has 10. So he's 2-1 on Thursday Night Football. Touchdown to interceptions ratio wise. Passing percentage, he's looking at about 63.5. So it's going to be a rough day. If you look at the wide receiver to DB's matchup, like, there's not really an advantage that you usually see with the Bengals wide receivers. For Jamar Chase, you have an able-bodied kind of small technician like Darius Slay to be matched up with. If not, then Jalen Ramsey will slide in because he plays a lot more nickel. He's been blitzing. Looks like Jamal Adams at times when he was, all-pro safety Jamal Adams back with the New York Jets. And yeah, he's getting utilized in different ways. You have Joey Porter, who kind of missed a few games early on into the season, but he has came back. He's going to be taking on like the CB1 mantle. He has 2 veterans, with Slay, with Jalen Ramsey, former Super Bowl champions, to kind of guide him through this season and for him to ascend into that next role. And yeah, 3 solid corners. You have, Mims, relatively still young. I don't believe he has taken the ascension to being an all-pro right tackle, so he's going to be having a tough night against TJ Watt. And then you have Cameron Hayward on the inside. Lucas Patrick is out in this game for the Bengals, so just having Dolce Reisner, that's gonna, might cost you a little bit. On the other side, you still have Herbert kind of taking on the next step. You have Highsmith coming in, so you have rushers. You have Patrick Queen middle stopping the run. Not that Bengals have a run game anyway. I think that is the biggest factor for the Bengals. If they are somehow able to establish the run game against the Steelers in a short week, because they have a lot of veterans, you know, that might be the recipe for success. That could kind of lead into Joe Flacco throwing it all over the yard in Cincinnati at home with the home fan base. Sometimes divisional game you can never predict, but I would expect going off the Steelers, going off of Mike Tomlin, going off of Aaron Rodgers, everybody that I just mentioned on the defense, probably some guys that I did not. And then offensive line wise too, I think while relatively younger compared to the Bengals, I think Steelers are better. Special teams wise, Miles Killebrew missing this game kind of does suck for the Steelers. However, their special teams coordinator, I mean, he always has something up his sleeve. Do they get a blocked field goal? Something of that sort that could always go down. Also for the Bengals, Gesicki is out. I do believe Noah Fant's going to be taking over as tight end one. So how is that going to look? For Joe Flacco, interesting to see. Even Trey Hendrickson's not 100%. Is that trade rumors wise? Is it his hips actually messed up? His back's actually messed up? Which, if you have seen him, it does look like he is kind of lingering into the season because of all the contract dispute and drama that, being the cheap organization that the Bengals are, created with their star pass rusher, because they don't know how to build a team, because they've never really built a successful team. Anyone in that building, but they still kind of roll it out because every day the value of the franchise just goes up. So why are you gonna not sit on a cash cow? Kind of don't blame them in that aspect. And yeah, I think Steelers take this, kind of ride out the momentum, going into the latter half in the season, the second half of the season. It will be interesting to see. Another thing I do want to mention, Steelers offense, they are 72% of the time it's yard after catches. DK Metcalf, maybe he gets a short one, boom, like the international game that they had. He goes 80 yards, something of that short. They go get that ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, short, quick, easy, and then let the pass catchers do their work. It has worked out for them. I do want to mention Steelers have not been that great at running the ball either with Jalen Warren. Maybe they're looking into the running back market as well. Nobody's kind of mentioning that for them. But yeah, they're kind of playing the Arthur Smith style where they're running the ball heavy sets. It's not pretty, but they're getting the job done. Similar-ish vibes to the Bucks in 2020, like when Tom Brady went to them. You have the offensive weapons. Calvin Austin being out in this game kind of sucked. There's already reports of another wide receiver getting linked to them. It will be interesting to see. Rashid Shaheed is an interesting prospect because of his speed. He gives another dynamic ability next to Calvin Austin. So it should be intriguing to see how, over the next few weeks, the trade deadline kind of shapes out, how teams, do get aggressive or do they sell, what kind of goes to the wayside. It's going to relate into the Raiders later on into this week on the Sunday slate, amongst all the other games. So stay tuned for that. If you have not, please go back and watch the football frenzy relating to Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Milan. Go back and watch previous episodes of QuickTakez that you might have missed. This one's 7A, so there's already 6 weeks of content that's already out for that. So I hope you guys go back, support all of that. Outside of that, I hope y'all have a fantastic week. I'll already be back, Sunday. Your boy's back with the slate. Yeah, till then, I hope y'all have a fantastic week. I hope the game today is not a snooze fest, to say the least. And, it does, maybe there are some hard hits that after the game, like we said, Icy Hot Bowl, it might not just be for the old people, but because of some old school AFC North football. Till next time, you already know what it is. Peace.